Cody in the morning. WSM. This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome in on this Monday morning to Music City. We are inside the A-Cuff House on the Opry Plaza. I'm Kelly Sutton. That's Charlie Mattos. Annie Nye is there. Jeff Roberts in Master Control. We are your crew to help you steer through this Monday morning fog. And we do mean fog. We actually really do have fog out there. So,
all right.
Yeah, just extra time.
Am I the co-pilot?
I think so. Just make sure the headlights are on. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I always kind of thought of myself more as a baggage handler. I don't think you want me piloting anything.
Great.
But
Feeling real solid about everything that's going to happen.
Hey, listen,
today.
your bags are going to get there.
That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
I fly free no matter what. It's fine.
Later on, Whisper and Bill Anderson stopped by to see us. Mm-hmm. We've got new music from him. We're going to be talking to him coming up in just a little bit, so hang tight. Also, entertainment headlines, just sad news over the weekend that we lost Chris Christopherson, 88 years old. He was at home in Hawaii, but we'll be remembering him. Great stories. Man, I saw a headline that said, country has lost its most interesting man ever. And I thought, man, that kind of does play. If you look at the different things that he did in his life, from Rhodes Scholar to flying helicopters to movie star, just all of it. So we'll talk more about that and our favorite Christopherson songs. Plus, it's one of those days you just feel like you need some kind of comfort food. So we started talking about it earlier. Favorite soups. What's your favorite soup? Mm-hmm. It kind of puts you in the mood. And that's basically what I want today now.
You've got me wanting soup now. Yeah.
It's the power of suggestion.
Yeah. My problem is my favorite soup you cannot just get out of a can. It needs to be made. So I don't get my favorite soup that often.
That's true.
Yeah.
Mine is also one that needs to be made. I know the place that makes it that I like it the most.
Okay.
So we'll give you all that. It's all coming up. We got a lot to discuss.
This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Ready for a made-in-Tennessee road trip? Let me tell you where to go. tntrailsandbyways.com. Get off the beaten path and take the scenic route. Maybe you'll wind up on the Walking Tall Trail, Southwest Tennessee, Buford-Pusser country. Rockabilly, rails, and legendary trails. Explore charming small towns, mom-and-pop eateries, courthouse squares. That's something you always enjoy, Charlie.
Big on the courthouse square.
And barbecue gems down in Southwest Tennessee.
You know, if you go to tntrailsandbyways.com, each trail has its own dedicated pages, and you can search by whatever you're interested in. You can do food and beverage, you can do historic sites, you can do fun things for kids, and each trail has easily over 100 things to do. I happen to live on the Jack Trail. No, I did not buy my home specifically because it was on the Jack Trail, but I will say it is rather appropriate product placement. But just 108 stops there, and if you spend even 5 or 10 minutes on the website, you will come up with dozens and dozens of great ideas for a day trip, a weekend getaway, or if you're coming to town for a couple weeks on vacation. It's indispensable.
And I live on the Ring of Fire Trail.
You do?
And it is the time of year when fire-curing tobacco, dark-fired tobacco, is the way we roll in Robertson County, Tennessee. And that's going on as we speak. And so much more. Charlie mentioned a couple of things there that I wanted to follow up on, and that's there are a total of 16 trails. And when he talked about those hundreds of things to do on each trail, 1,351 recommended stops if you get the travel guide at tntrailsandbyways.com.
Welcome in, everybody. It's Coffee, Country, and Cody. And as I mentioned before we took the break, we have breaking news. Breaking country music news. Do we have a timpani?
You want it? I can get you the timpani.
If you can get a little timpani. There it is. The host of this year's CMA Awards have been announced. And this year at the helm, you will have Luke Bryan, Peyton Manning, and Lainey Wilson. Isn't that awesome? Mm-hmm. I'm so happy for her. So last couple of years, it's been Luke and Peyton, and they're good. But they needed somebody to come in and spice it up a little bit. And our girl Lainey obliged. Very cute promo video. We'll show you later on in the show. It's adorable. But yeah, they're riding all together. And then Lainey comes out of nowhere and they're like, where did you come from? So it's going to be a good time coming up on November 20th.
We got some serious accents between Luke Bryan and Lainey Wilson.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. All my people in the New England are going to need the closed captioning.
Peyton has a little bit of an accent.
He does.
It's not.
He's more mushmouth.
Well, he was Louisiana, right? He was born in
Yeah,
Louisiana.
I believe, yep.
Then was here forever.
Right.
So yeah, it's kind of muddled. It's a little bit of a mutt accent, but that's okay. All three of them together. It was just announced. It's going to be at Bridgestone Arena, November 20th. ABC will have it for you. This is the 58th annual. It's going to be live on ABC, and then the next day it will be available on Hulu, so you can watch it there. Still some tickets that are for sale, so if you want to buy it and come into town and be a part of it, it is a lot of fun to be in the house and watch it all happen. The cameras and, jib cams flying around. But Lainey is just so good at hosting things. I think that it's a really smart move to have her be a part of that.
Well, and reigning entertainer of the year doesn't hurt either.
The interesting thing is, when that category comes up, where will she be? Will she be behind the scenes? Will she be on set? Will she, that's going to be kind of, because they always have to have a picture of all of the nominees,
right,
and they'll be on video. So already thinking ahead, like that could be awkward.
And the winner is me.
I mean,
I have won.
If you and I were hosting, we know how that would go down. Here I am. I won. Congratulations. Yeah, looking forward to that. Okay, sad news over the weekend. We lost Chris Christopherson, 88 years old. Just incredible human all the way around, from being a Rhodes Scholar to then, coming into the Army. He was in the Army for years, learning how to fly helicopters, came to Nashville, wanted to be a songwriter, became a janitor at a studio. And famously, Charlie McCoy talked about him the last time that I hosted the Opry and Charlie was on. He said, yeah, there was this young guy and he was hanging around. They said, this is our new janitor. His name's Chris. And Chris asked me, he said, you think I just want to stand here and just listen to what's going on? And Charlie said, you stand right there. And, don't make trouble for anybody, and no one will think any wiser. Just stand right there. And later on, he found out it was Christopherson. So just fantastic person all the way around. Also amazing actor, and loved watching him in A Star Is Born. I had a chance to interview him later in life for another movie that he had done with Dakota Fanning. Annie found the name of it. What was it, Annie?
Drifter, I think, right?
Dreamer.
Okay.
That was it.
Drifter, a very different movie.
Different movie. Dakota Fanning was in it. She was the young girl that was trying to break a horse, and he was like the horse trainer extraordinaire. But that was the first time I met him, and then interviewed him again for Skyville Live, which was a series that we did. And I can just tell you, I rarely feel like I'm at a loss for words when I'm speaking to another person, especially if it's somebody that I know I'm interviewing. I'm coming in with my list of questions, and I've got a lot of stuff in my head. And I looked in those blue eyes and I was completely just gone. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to ask. I'm sure some words came out of my mouth. I don't remember what they were, but I loved him. I really did. So very sad. And we were playing some of his songs. I mean, the catalog is just incredible.
Come and lay down by my side till the early morning light. All I'm taking is your time. Help me make it through the night.
I just found this Dylan quote. Bob Dylan said, you can look at Nashville pre-Chris and post-Chris because he changed everything.
Oh, what a great line.
Isn't
I love
that fantastic?
That.
Yeah. So remembering Chris Christopherson this morning. Luke Combs speaking out. So many people in North Carolina and Eastern Tennessee and South Carolina still just picking up pieces after ravaging floods. Hurricane Helene coming in and just sitting on top of that area. Massive flooding. Roads are out. 60 people, I believe, is what our last count, have lost their lives due to this storm. So Luke Combs stepping up, of course, from that area, saying on social media, absolutely heartbroken for everyone impacted by Hurricane Helene, especially my folks in Western North Carolina. Me and my team have been working. We've been making calls. I think we've got something really special lined up to help all of the people in the Carolinas as much as we can. More details to come ASAP. So he's working on something. Eric Church has postponed his residency that he was going to do here at Chiefs. He has now pushed that to November. It's going to happen November 19th because he too is working on some relief efforts. So our thoughts and prayers are going out to everybody in those areas.
And there are parts that's going to be a mess for quite some time. Just the structural damage of roads, interstates.
Asheville,
it's bad.
All of the roads around Asheville are just impassable at this point.
Yeah.
So,
no power, cell phone service, very limited. So
absolutely going to let you know when those relief efforts start happening. I know a lot of people feel helpless and want to help in some way. We'll find places that we know are taking donations, whether it's here locally in Nashville or nationally. Of course, the American Red Cross is always one of the first places that you can make a donation. And our friends at Mercy Chefs, they always show up and they feed all of the people, all the volunteers. So all of that, as it starts to trickle in, we'll of course keep you up to date and let you know about that.
More Coffee, Country, and Cody is on WSM.
Got a little getaway planned or just thinking about it? Want to look around at tntrailsandbyways.com. Their recommendation is get off the beaten path. Take the scenic route. 16 different trail names across the state of Tennessee with over 1,300 recommended stops. And as far west as you can go down toward Memphis would be the Walking Tall Trail. As far east, northeast, if you will, up around Bristol, that's called the Sunnyside Trail. But Charlie, you're taking us to Rocky Top.
Yeah, we're going east as well. And I'm in the mood to eat and drink. A couple of years ago, we talked about all I wanted to do was go to cemeteries and churches. So we're going to liven things up on our tour of the state this week. 135 stops on the Rocky Top Trail and just amazing food and drink options. So let's go to Townsend first. Dancing Bear Lodge and Restaurant right off the Lamar Alexander Parkway. Is that not quintessential Tennessee? In Pigeon Forge, the Mountain Valley Vineyards. They opened in 1991, the largest vineyards in all of our state. And the Applewood Farmhouse Grill in Sevierville. This was built in 1921. It was a 6-room farmhouse that's now a restaurant. It's also a working apple orchard, features a general store, a cider mill, and it's just phenomenal. And those are just a few of the 135 stops on the Rocky Top Trail.
Including the Sam Houston Schoolhouse down Maryville Way. Again, tntrailsandbyways.com. Take the scenic route.
It's time to talk about entertainment headlines here on Coffee Country and Cody. Hello, everybody. We've got a lot of stuff that's been happening, but I have to say, props to Jelly Roll. I mean, I kind of feel like he's making headlines every day, all day long. And this weekend certainly was the weekend of Jelly Roll. He started off, I believe, Thursday night, he was in Boston. And then Friday night, he played Madison Square Garden. Sometime during the weekend, he popped over to Central Park and did a show at Central Park, played there. And then Saturday Night Live. He was there on Saturday Night Live. It was the first episode of the 50th season. So kind of a big marquee episode. Jean Smart was the host. Gosh, she's on Hacks right now, but absolutely, I will always think of her as designing women. She will always be part of that clan in my mind. But Jelly did an unreleased song on SNL. And you pointed out, Charlie, the way that they had the stage set up, it looked like an AA meeting.
And the choir surrounding him in the back. It just very powerful. Boy, they sound great, too.
They sounded so good. I think at one point, because Paul and I were watching, and I said, I think there were 14 backup singers as far as a choir goes. And he did Liar as his first song, but that was the second one. It's called Winning Streak. Going to be on the new album, Beautifully Broken, not out yet, but also the Beautifully Broken tour. I mean, man, Jelly had the best weekend ever. Congratulations to Jelly Roll on that and being on SNL. Well, Luke Bryan has a new album, not to be detoured. You got to make sure that you give equal time. So Luke's new album is called Mind of a Country Boy. And he realized when he was in the process of this, it had been quite a while since he'd had new music. He said he was looking for that one song. Take a listen.
This album's been just naturally growing, and I didn't realize it was a 4-year gap. When you go do a Vegas residency and Idol and all that, your mind gets a little scrambled. But obviously putting country on the album, and then But I Got a Beer in My Hand. Those were kind of like singles that we were thinking about. But then when we had Love You, Miss You, Mean It really start popping, we were like, all right, we got like the song that feels like the single to build an album around.
There you go. That's the single to build the album around. It's Mind of a Country Boy. It is out now, as he mentioned, Country On, But I Got a Beer in My Hand, both on there. 14 tracks from Luke Bryan. So you can listen to that new stuff from him right now. Well, here in Music City, we were looking outside saying it's not raining, but again, the sun isn't out per se. So
it's humid and
It's humid.
was foggy this morning. So
feels kind of soupy.
It's very thick, very soupy out there.
You said
Yes.
soupy, and I immediately said, okay, let's talk about our favorite kinds of soups. I love it when we talk about this kind of stuff because this is what everybody wants to hear. They're like, oh, well, what should I have for dinner? This might inspire you. So your favorite type of soup. And we've already had a very in-depth discussion about the difference between stew, soup, and chili.
Yeah, chili doesn't count as soup. Now, you could have your favorite kind of chili because there's all different kinds, right?
Correct.
But I don't think chili counts
That's a
as soup.
topic for another day, I
Right,
think.
yeah.
is-
But
is chili.
when I think soup, there's only one thing that really instantly comes to mind.
All right,
Can
let
I
me
play
hear
a little
it.
something
Yeah.
here? Okay.
Very good. Very good. You know something? No soup for you. Come back 1 year.
1 year.
No soup for you.
No soup for you. All right, soup. If you're ordering it or if you're making it at home, what are you going to make?
The problem with my favorite is it really needs to be homemade if you're
Okay.
going to have it at home. If I have many great restaurants where I like it, but I will go with French onion soup as my soup.
Very nice.
Yes.
That's a good call.
With split pea as a close second.
Okay. Jeff told us his was minestrone.
Yes, only
Which
because we
that's solid.
would not allow him to have chili.
You
as
can't
his
have
soup.
chili as a
So,
soup.
yes.
It doesn't work.
Yes.
Annie, you want to chime in? What is your favorite soup? You're making it tonight. Yeah. Are you making it? Sausage and what? Yeah, come on over here.
Potatoes, right? Or something?
Yeah.
It's almost
Hers
like...
is very hearty.
It sounded like the Italian wedding soup where you have all the festive good stuff in there. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
so-
All right. What is it?
Tonight I'm making sausage, potato, and cheddar soup. This will be my third time making it.
Okay.
In the last month.
Really?
Wow.
Oh, wow. Okay. So
it's so good.
it's comfort food.
Comfort food. Soup is just the most wonderful thing on a day like today.
I think so. Is it like sausage? Do you cook the sausage? Is it turkey sausage? What do you use?
I use Italian sausage.
Okay.
I just cut it out of the casing and then cook it up. Take it out, put in, I keep forgetting, but I just learned the term for carrot, celery, and onion.
Moi pois or something like that,
Moi.
right?
Something like that, yeah. You'd make that, you put garlic.
I've
a
never
little
in my
broth.
life heard that term, by the way.
You haven't heard
No,
that?
I just learned
I just assumed
it.
it's carrot, celery, and onion. I didn't know
Yeah.
it had a thing.
Yeah.
It's like the base of a lot of soups. So it's a
Moi
moi
pois?
I think so. I could be
Something
butchering
just
this,
like
guys.
that. It's French, clearly.
Yeah.
And there's broth, cheese. You could probably put spinach in it. You put the sausage back in, and then you cut up the potato. You put the potato in. Ooh, so good.
I want that now.
It's so good.
might need
I'll
to
bring some in.
I need some samples. Of
I'll bring in
that.
samples. Samples.
Mine is a chicken tortilla, but there's one place here that I love more than any place. It's Taco Mamacita, and it is deconstructed in the bowl.
Okay.
And then they bring the broth out, and you pour the broth over top of it.
Oh, you make your own soup.
Oh, it's delightful.
Oh,
I love it so
nice.
much. So
That's a great choice.
these are the things that we offer up to you. So you're welcome, everybody. And by the way, just breaking news that I forgot to talk about at the very top of the hour. The CMA Awards have announced their host. It's going to be Luke Bryan, Peyton Manning, and Lainey Wilson this year. Congratulations, Lainey. We see you getting in there. I'm so happy about that. That's happening on November the 20th. We've got more to talk about right here on Coffee Country and Cody. Don't go away.
From WSM Radio, this is Coffee Country and Cody.
You know, in my opinion, there's no such thing as too perfect of a live record. Anytime you get a live anything, it takes you to the scene. And to have a live record from the Ryman with Dan Tyminski, that is like the triple threat right there. Good morning, friend. Thank you for coming in.
Are you kidding me? Good
This
morning.
is
Thank you for having me.
phenomenal.
It was really fun.
Yeah.
I gotta say, it was. I was so nervous, and it was such a big deal. But I mean, to get to record a project at the Ryman What a honor, and it was very exciting. And again, you can hear the nerves, but like you said, it's a live record and it's full of energy, and we had a blast.
Well, a live record, and then add to that on vinyl, which I think is even better because you get the hiss and the pop and the sounds, and it's the warmth of it.
It is. It brings you to a different place. Yeah, the vinyl just makes you feel real.
Yeah, it feels real.
Yeah,
That's
it just
exactly
feels
right.
real.
How many times have you played at the Ryman? Do you even know?
Oh, I haven't kept a count, but I can tell you the first time I walked through the doors of the Ryman, we're going back to the 80s before the restore, and it was amazing then. It was amazing the next time I went in. Every time I've ever been through those doors, I still get goosebumps. I mean, still to this day, you go through there, and it's such a huge part of music history, and my parents especially were such big WSM Grand Ole Opry fans. All I heard about growing up, right? So to be able to play at the Ryman is an especially big deal for me.
Isn't that funny? Because I grew up in Providence, so we're both New Englanders, right?
Yeah.
And you wouldn't think that would happen, but my parents were the biggest country music fans. They were so thrilled when I moved to Nashville.
That antenna used to be big, man.
Yeah,
we got plenty of WSM. That's right.
It did. The cool part too is though, my teen years, the live album was such a staple of my record collection. And I love anytime anyone still does a live record because you don't see that many anymore.
It's really important to me in that where I grew up listening to music, it was really all live music. I did not listen to a lot of recorded music growing up. And the couple records that I did listen to, oddly, were live records, right? So unknowingly, I was kind of just a fan of that live record thing. And just live music in general, I think when you're there watching it being made right in front of you, it touches a different part of your soul. It's a better experience. So the thought of making a live record, really does cut right to the part of the music that I love the most, which is the creation of it.
All right, what were you listening to live? You said there were a couple that were on repeat.
So there were a couple I listened to. A Seldom Seen live at the Cellar Door record a lot because there was something about that record that just spoke to me. And then there was another one, the Live in Japan, that there was actually multi-artist on there, a country gentleman, but there was a Tony Rice segment on there. J.D. Crowe and the New South had when Ricky Skaggs was in the band and Tony Rice. And that live performance they did, I think the record was titled Greatest Show on Earth. And the Greatest Show on Earth live record was one of the ones that I listened to over and over and over again.
See, and that's it. Those are the memories, and then you start thinking about how old you were and what smells were in the house, and it just kind of transports you.
For me, music does that to me. I mean, I was 12. It was 3 months before my 13th birthday when I heard that 0044 record, and I remember going inside and asking my parents if I could have a banjo, which I think they chuckled. They were like, a banjo? No, they said, no one here can teach you how to play. There's no banjo players around here. I said, well, there's about to be one.
Was that the first
It was
instrument?
me. That was
it.
My first instrument technically was a mandolin, and I started that when I was 6 or 7. I've played a little bit, coming up, but I say that I was bitten by the bug when I was 12. It was the J.D. Crowe record, the 0044 album that got me. Specifically, there were a couple songs. They had I'm Walking, Yes Indeed, and I'm Talking About You and Me. Yeah. That song I just listened to over and over again, and Old Home Place was the other song that is still like when I weigh anything against what it might mean to bluegrass music, I weigh it against that song, that performance.
That's a beautiful.
Yeah.
How did you decide what you were going to do on the live? Because that's the other thing. It's like, okay, now the pressure's on. This is not going in the studio. This is not multiple takes. This is live. So the set list had to have a lot of care.
Yeah. So that was part of it. It was scary because I had some options. I mean, I didn't know if I wanted to try to touch, because I've had a long career, right? I haven't been in a lot of bands, but I've recorded a lot of music, and it was hard to touch on all the eras that I've recorded stuff in. So what I really wanted to focus on was, if you came to see the Dan Tyminski band, today, and you got a live show, I wanted to really I wanted it to feel like a show that you came to today, because it was really hard. It would have been very hard to cover all of the old stuff and all of the new stuff, and we were limited to the amount of time we had because of vinyl. And at the end of the day, I wanted people to feel the energy of if they went to a live show. So I didn't worry as much about songs as I did making sure. We actually didn't put the whole show was longer than the album is. There were some songs that we didn't have room for. So I tried to take the best of what felt the best to me and get it on the vinyl.
More Coffee, Country, and Cody is on WSM.
He's here, a new album. It's live from the Ryman. Look how pretty it looks right here. Brand new vinyl. This is Dan Tyminski's newest project. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
After it was finished, did you have that moment where you were like, oh, I wish I could have just gotten in there to tinker with it a little bit more?
I don't know if I've ever done a project where I didn't think that I could tinker a little bit more. Like, you mix this stuff, you do your mix. I don't know if mixes are ever done. You just finally stop.
You run out of time.
You just run out of, you just finally stop, because I can always go back and say, I could change that. But I think I could do that for infinity.
Yeah.
And beyond.
And
Yes,
you were doing spatial audio, which is something new for a lot of people that have maybe an Alexa device at home, or you're listening on a certain device. They now offer spatial audio, which is very cool.
If anyone is not familiar with spatial audio, it's a way that kind of puts you right in the middle of the band, so you kind of feel like you are literally right there with them playing the music. So it's a very, very cool feature that's new, and we got to play with a little bit with this one.
And now you're like, let me at it. I want to do it again. I want more time playing with the spatial audio. You have an incredible Martin guitar. Tell us the history behind it before you play something live for us.
Okay, well, this is my first guitar. This is my baby. This was the guitar that. This is the first guitar I've ever had, because when I joined Allison Krauss Union Station now 30 years ago, I grew up a banjo player, mandolin player, right? So guitar was kind of new. So I had to go shopping, and I found this one from Mandolin Central in Siler City, North Carolina. I'll give them a little plug. But this has been my first guitar. It'll be my last guitar. I've recorded everything I've ever done in my career with this instrument. So this is kind of my baby. I have a couple new guitars that I fly with or will play sometimes live. But this is the one. This is a 1946 D28 Martin Herringbone guitar that has my funk all over it.
Oh.
Do you trust the airline with that, or does that only stay with you?
No, this one goes whenever I drive.
Okay.
I have flown with it. It has seen probably 20 or 30 flights. It's in the early days when I first got it. I flew a lot with it because I just refused to play anything else but this for many years. And then I watched a few incidences that.
Did you see my eyes? I'm like, don't do that, Dan.
I've seen a few things and heard a few things, and I've heard of some big trouble. So it scared me now. I go with I leave this one on a little velvet pillow. And I stroke it a couple times, and I sing it a lullaby, and I lay it down, and then I fly with something.
Dan Tyminski. That's fantastic. I can hear Ira Dean in that.
So I thought of the title first. I was actually speaking with my wife on my back deck one night, and she asked me this question. I don't know what we were talking about, but she said, describe yourself in the fewest possible words. And I happened to be sitting back there, and I had a cigar in one hand and a glass of bourbon whiskey in this hand, just on this one particular night. And I looked down and I said, well, I guess I'm a God-fearing heathen.
Okay.
And I said it as a joke. And then when I heard myself, when I actually heard what I'd said, Ira popped into my head, and I was like, I called Ira. I was like, okay, you got to come and write the song with me. I've got a title. He said, what is it? I said, well, I can't tell you the title. I said, you'll write the song on your way over here. I said, I know better than that, right? Because he's
nice
too
try.
good. He's too good at it, right? So I said,
Nice
no, you
try.
come over here. So he comes over the next day, and he knocked on the door, and I answered the door, and he says, all right, Tyminski, what's your big title? And I said, and I looked at him. I said, God-fearing heathen. And he paused, and he looked at me, and he said, well, man, we could write that. I said, well,
That's why you're here.
I called you.
I didn't just invite you in.
I called you for a reason, pal.
The coffee,
But he had. I knew he would understand where I was, mentally with it, and that one wrote itself for us. Yeah.
And you got a ton of tour dates coming up. But for folks locally in Nashville, Chiefs on Lower Broad will be the next time for folks to see you locally.
And if you're ever wondering, check out the socials, dantyminski.com, go to Instagram, go to the Facebook sites. There's a lot of information out there that can get you to catch up with us. Yeah.
You guys were talking off the air that there's a joy to performing, and that you get caught up in how good the band is at times too. And I saw Vince on his 4-night residency recently, and I told my wife after, I said, it's been a long time since I've seen someone enjoy a show that much. much. And it's magical when the artist is having as much fun as the crowd.
It's hard for even people to even believe this, but when I'm up there playing, I am honestly as much of a fan still while I'm playing as I am a performer. I mean, I love hearing what's going on around me, right? And the guys and gals I'm playing with, they're amazing. So yeah, it's so much fun to play that I split my time. You know, I'm performer / fan still while I'm playing.
/ table tennis / coffee connoisseur
/ foosball. Let's not leave out the foosball. Let's
all
not
the
leave
things.
out foosball.
That was foosball champion. He's got a lot going on. It's never enough time to hang out with you. Please come back and hang out with us again.
If
soon.
you let me back to this place, man, I'll come back
digging
anytime
it?
you
like
say.
the studio?
This is
It's
a
fun,
beautiful
right?
new spot. My first time here. You guys are pimping out. It's great.
We love it. We love having you here. Brand new album, everybody, live from the Ryman. Dan Tyminski, check him out. November 10th, he's going to be at Chiefs. And we've got more right here on Coffee Country and Cody.